Last night, as part of our Pride Month coverage, we told you a story about the new law banning conversion therapy for minors in Maine.
One person who has had experience with that type of therapy is News Center's Rob Nesbitt. He sat down with Lindsay Mills to answer her questions and let viewers know why he believes this legislation is so important.
Rob, conversion therapy is something that you've had personal experience with?
It is. When I was 16, 17 years old in high school, I kind of really struggled with the coming out process, and I came out to friends first, and a few of those friends went to church. And so I decided to go with them to church. They recommended it, and I reached out on my own to a youth pastor to talk about what options I might have, how scary I thought being gay was. And I wanted to basically take this thing that I thought was a bad thing and fix it any way that I could. I wanted to be like everybody else, all the other kids. And so I reached out to a youth pastor and basically started a process which is called Pray the Gay Away. So not necessarily a conversion therapy camp, but a place where they do try to change your sexual orientation through prayer and through meetings.
And this is something you reached out on your own and pursued.
Yeah, that's the thing, is when I tell people that I have experiences with a therapy, conversion therapy, some way to try to change a person's sexual orientation, which is what conversion therapy tries to do. I hadn't come out to my parents or my family at all. And my parents thought I was going to youth group. They thought I was being a good kid. Like who panics or worries when their kid says they're going to church? Nobody. And so my parents really just thought I was going to church with my friends, and they thought it was a good thing, and they didn't understand what was actually happening. And I've never even had a conversation with them about it until this week.
You were taking this upon yourself to change how you felt. At what point did something change for you that you thought, this isn't working, this isn't for me, maybe this isn't right?
One of the memories that I had was that the youth pastor had told me that after like months and months of prayer circles and talking about this and talking about what I should do at home and ways that I should try to pray and seek God's guidance on this, the person kind of got frustrated, and actually their quote to me was, Rob, your homosexuality is like a backpack full of rocks and you just need to take your backpack off. And I remember thinking that I was so frustrated with this thing that I wanted so badly to change, and it wasn't changing. And when you, as a kid, you're just trying to be like everybody else, and you want to be, and it's not changing. It's just so frustrating. And I actually reached the point in my life that got pretty dark, and I had my first suicidal thought. And I was a really confident person my whole life. And for the first time ever, I thought it would just be easier if I wasn't alive. And that really scared me. I thought, okay, you know that that's wrong. And so I decided to take a step back and like choose self-love instead of self-harm. And I just decided not to go for a while and to just kind of think about this on my own. And that was kind of the last experience that I had with it, because I knew that a suicidal thought was not an okay thing.
How did you arrive at that point of self-love and realizing that you weren't wearing a backpack full of rocks?
It really had to do with the fact that my family has always taught me that they've always loved me no matter what. And they did that when I came out, which was amazing. And so being around people who show you that you are okay the way you are, and that just makes you realize it. So when you're around people that don't show you that a lot, it's hurtful and harmful. But when you surround yourself with a group of people who support you as you are, then you tend to do that for yourself too. And that's what happened to me.
What would be your message to those maybe struggling to find that support system?
There's so many messages that I've heard over the years that, things like it gets better, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. it's interesting though, because when you tell a kid that, it's really hard for them to see the future and see the outlook, but you have to. You have to realize that maybe this smaller world that you're living in, it's a big world, and luckily it is changing. I think we see it every day, more and more acceptance, and that's why this ban on this bill to me is so important, because people argue that there might not be conversion therapy camps in Maine, which might be true, and most people, when they think that they're helping a person to try to be straight, they just Google how to do that. And conversion therapy is one of the first things that come up. Well, now in Maine, this is illegal for a minor. And so if you do Google that now, hopefully you'll see your populated list online will say conversion therapy illegal. And it sets a tone and it sets an important message that it's not tolerated here on a legal level.
And Rob Nesbitt joins us now, and it was difficult for those of us who know you and work with you every day to hear about what you had to go through, but I think the real message to take from this is that you're proof it does get better.
And that's what I want kids to know at home, or anyone at home to know, that once I found self-acceptance first and then acceptance from others, I got my confidence back, and I'm very proud of the person I am today, and anybody can do that, and it will happen for them too.
And there are resources out there now that you didn't have when you were struggling for these kids who are.
If they were available then, I didn't know about it. I really went about it alone to try to help myself, but there are resources available. A great resource is the Trevor Project for LGBTQ youth, and there are trained counselors standing by 24/7 there, and you can call them at 1-866-488-7386. If you have anything that you have a question about or need help, you should always reach out.
Thanks for sharing all of that.
Proud of you.
Thank you, Rob.